I'm Full Paragon, and this is your guide to the Overlord banner featuring Eins. Welcome to the slapstick, buddy. Hope you like getting drunked on by a drunken brunette. So this banner is a limited banner, and it is also a collab banner. There will be no reruns of this banner. The exclusive units will only be available during this time, and after this, you will not be able to get them again. So if you want them, you need to pull now. This is the first of two banners that will be a part of the Overlord banner. This is a dark banner with Eins, Darkness, and Cosma. The welfare unit will be Albedo. The first unit to go over is the Diet Overlord Cosma. Einsma here has a solid kit. His skill 1 is a 4-second party cooldown cut, and it has an HP conditional tacked on. His skill 2 is self tier 2 agility with another HP conditional. This is a pretty good kit. The problem here is dark mages are just better than this. He mostly exists as a sub for Eins and won't ever really see any use, despite again having a pretty good kit. He just can't stack up to mages with a weakness debuff on. Darkness copied Albedo's outfit in hopes that the evil Overlord would ravish her, but unfortunately she does not seem to understand how Lich anatomy works, probably from spending too much time around Wiz. Her basic will boost her own defense, and her skill 1 has self-alt gauge fill, which is really what Darkness wants in a kit, as it allows her to use the mask ultimate and dish out some respectable damage. Her skill 2 is a team tier 3 attack buff, which is very strong. This is a very good kit, but again, dark mages are just better, and this one doesn't even have the benefit of being a very good sub outside of Forfez Darkness. However, Darkness enjoys the shame of being terrible. And now, the main event, and the real reason you're here, Eins Ulgon. Eins isn't the most OP thing ever, but he's good. For reference, he's closer in impact to Danmachi Aqua than he is to Eyes. He's not going to be top of the meta, but he will be very good. His skill 1 is a 20% party alt gauge fill, which is pretty much what mages want. His skill 2 is not that great. It's an AoE with a debuff conditional, but his ultimate is type dark, has a tier 3 magic defense down on the boss, and a tier 3 self magic attack buff. He's very strong, and he glows incredibly well with Yun, who has the cooldown cut that really makes his kit shine. Eins is going to be at the absolute pinnacle of the dark meta for quite a few months to come, but again, he's not going to be an absolutely overwhelming meta-dominant force. He'll just be very good in one element. As for Albedo, the welfare unit, she is by far the worst welfare collab we've gotten so far, and probably the worst one we'll get. Her skill 1 is a tier 2 defense down, and her skill 2 is a tier 1 agility buff. Those just don't cut it in this day and age. Perhaps if her skill 2 was a team tier 2 agility buff and a tier 3 defense down instead, she might be okay, but her ultimate is really what kills it. It doesn't do damage, it just provides a counter buff and damage cut. Now, while as Leah has shown, an ultimate that only provides buffs can still be quite good, a counter buff isn't anywhere near as good as a tier 2 agility buff or an attack buff. Frankly, most teams don't really need a counter buff. Yeah, it's nice if you happen to get one, but it's not going to make or break your damage, and it's usually one buff that you can pass up on. Similar to Eins and other undead, Albedo is a demon and will heal herself with her basic attacks. So she's very tanky and has good sustain, especially with that basic. But all in all, she's a real vanity character. The only time you'll ever want to use her is if you're doing a dungeon run and want some sort of tinky character, but even then, PJ Mia is probably going to be a better option. She's a pure collectible character, nothing more. My final verdict here is that you should probably pull. This is probably the better of the two collab banners we'll be getting, the other one of which only has Shaltir and Megamine. Eins is going to be meta for longer than Shaltir will be, and he's quite good during that time. You can pretty much give up on Dark Arena if you're not using him. However, the other characters are pretty bad. Darkness and Cosma are basically collectibles, or subs for Eins in the case of Cosma. However, this is never returning, and Eins is an S tier unit. I say go ahead and pull, especially if you're a big fan of Overlord and would regret on missing out on these characters. That's the video, thanks for watching. As you can probably tell, my voice still isn't doing great, and I'm still under the weather, so I won't be doing a stream for Overlord. I wasn't planning on pulling anyway. I personally will be saving for Chris, who is going to be the meta queen for a very long time, mostly because I'm just not interested in the Overlord characters. However, I'll still be putting out a few videos and guides as I can to this, and I hope all of you do have a good time pulling for Overlord and enjoying the collab in Konosuba. Fantastic days.